Good evening, folks. This is Aaron DeBruin, Vinyl Freak 89 here from EasternUSWeather.com to give you another video update on our potential storm for March 24th or 25th, 2008. Or is it? Well, we've got some new things going on in some of the computer models today that indicate that the storm that we were looking at for March 25th may not be the storm to key on, and I'm going to explain in this video some of the reasons why. On a really interesting situation evolving here in the computer models with a prolonged negative NAO as opposed to breaking down around March 25th, and this could lead to a very interesting end to March. Let's go ahead and start to break down the situation. We're going to be taking a look now at first the 0Z from last night and then today's 18Z just sort of as a comparison. There really haven't been any major discrepancies between the 12Z and the 18Z which is why I feel comfortable using it. You know, sometimes people say it's the 18Z model, throw it out, but it's been pretty consistent, so I'll use it for trend's sake. Alright, let's go ahead and get right down to it. Here we can see our first system sitting in here. It's going to eject out, and interestingly enough, the models are bringing it a bit further east than they were before, which could mean that the low pressure system tracks more so through this area in here as opposed to up along to the west of where I have the main track of the 500 load drawn. And we'll have to watch that. Could be some snow on the back end for interior sections of the Northeast. Not something I'm too concerned about right now. But definitely something we do need to keep our eye on over the next day or two as this system gets ready to move toward the coast. We can see our first sort of displaced 50-50 low sitting out here, and here's the block sitting back here, which is going to retrograde back like this, and is going to pave way for more systems to be coming down the pike. So the 18Z GFS today, okay, it verified pretty well. No real discrepancies over that. So let's go ahead and jump ahead 72 hours. We can see here's the system in here sitting on the 0Z GFS. Can see the 500 low is sitting here up at over the southern tier of Michigan, the lower peninsula, if you will. And probably at this point the low is right about here. So it's on the eastern side of that system. Can see here's the block getting ready. It's coming back. Remember, initially it was sitting in here, and now it's 72. It's sitting way up in here. So the block is coming back. It's moved from about here to here in the last 72 hours. Here's sort of, I guess, a makeshift 50-50 low, but the main thing's way displaced to the south. And here comes our next system coming down the pike, which is going to be the Clipper. But notice, displaced polar vortex sitting up here to the north. Here's our system. And the 18Z GFS has a similar tune, but notice it's a little bit further back, positively tilted with the trough, and that's why it does bring the low pressure system a little bit further south and east. Here comes the next system again for the Clipper, but the way that they handle that, the 18Z and the 12Z GFS, is where we start to see differences. Again, notice the block sitting back here. About the same position as it was on the 12Z GFS, if not slightly a little bit further west. But now here's where the real problems start. So we're going to move on to 144. This is Saturday night, actually Sunday morning at 0Z, whatever you want to call it. Here's the Clipper moving through. Here comes the next system diving down that was really being keyed on yesterday in the 12Z and the 18Z GFS. Not being keyed on so much today, and I'll sort of explain why. Here comes the next system down the pike, which may actually be the big kahuna for us, not the system we were looking at. But notice what's happening. Here's the block coming back over the top, a piece is splitting off, but it is definitely trying to retrograde. But notice most of it is going east still. Okay? Very different story in today's today's GFS. Notice the whole thing is further north. More of it's coming back, and the whole thing is definitely a lot further north. So what happens, you can build this low stronger in here, and what does that do? That creates a slowness to the flow in here. This is the Clipper. These are valid at the same time. This is the Clipper in here, and yet here it is way out front. in the 0Z That is a big difference, and it means the flow slowed down. Now, here's our next system waiting in the wings up here. It's really getting blocked by this ridge sitting in here. Notice on the 0ZGFS, the ridge is still there, but it's not nearly as pronounced as it is on the 18ZGFS. And this is not where the discrepancies end. We move over to 180 hours, looking at 12Z on Monday morning, the 24th, and we can see here's what the GFS is now doing at 0Z. After 18Z, it completely lost the storm. It's got a very weak wave going out in front, and here comes the next one down the pike. Notice they're quick shots, one after another. They're very quick, very progressive flow. But look, block is gone. Moving east, gone. A little bit remaining over Greenland, but most of it is pretty much dissipated. Now let's take a look at the 18Z GFS valid at the same time. This is the Clipper sitting in here. This is still the Clipper. At the same time that the old GFS had our main storm, the new GFS is the Clipper. Much slower with the flow, much more in agreement with what the Euro was saying yesterday. And here comes the big storm, or what we thought was going to be the big storm down the pike.